I was Leo's fiancé, his childhood sweetheart. One day, I saw him kissing his so-called best bro, another girl. I'm so sick of her, he complained, his arm around the girl's shoulders. She's such a sickly thing, and so melodramatic. His best bro giggled. Well, you're the one who spoils her. I told you, you have to put her in her place, then she wouldn't dare act up. It's your own fault for not listening. Oh, so that's how it was. The truth is, I never needed to be with him. Later, just as he wished, I left, but then, he was the one who changed, swearing he'd never marry anyone but me. That evening, Leo texted me, asking me to bring a bottle of wine from our apartment to the bar where he was. I had a cold. I'd been in bed all day with a fever and a dizzy spell. He knew that. I'm not feeling well. Can't you just order something there? What's the cruelest thing done to you in the name of love? Tell me below. First, the heart breaks, then, karma breaks them. I texted back. His call came instantly. The first thing I heard was a roar of jeering from his friends. Quiet down, everyone. Watch our man Leo show her who's boss. Ha ha ha. Are you sure about this, Leo? You know your girl is fragile. Through the clamor of laughter, he finally spoke. Have you eaten? I paused. Yes, my boys are all waiting. Why is it so hard for you to do one simple thing? His voice was heavy. You have the strength to eat, but not to come over. I took some cold medicine. I'm really dizzy right now, I said, my voice hoarse. Come on, Leo, just forget it. If you lose the bet, just pay up. A shrill female voice cut through the noise. I knew that voice well. It was Leo's best bro, Sophie. She giggled. Looks like Leo's gonna have to open his wallet today. The little wifey isn't listening again. The jeering started up again. A wave of nausea churned in my stomach. Clara. It was Leo's voice, laced with that familiar impatience. I closed my eyes. Fine. I'm on my way. I took a cab to the bar, pushing the door open to the private room. I saw Leo standing in the center, locked in a passionate kiss with Sophie amidst a chorus of whoops and hollers. The moment they saw me, the noisy room fell silent. Sensing the change, Sophie glanced over, let out a shriek, and shoved Leo away as if she'd seen a monster. Leo stumbled back a few steps, frowning as he looked over. He was clearly drunk. As our eyes met, Sophie nonchalantly wiped her glistening lips, her hands fidgeting. Clara, don't misunderstand. We just lost a game. This was our punishment. My eyes swept over her slinky top and white miniskirt. Leo and his friends had praised her more than once for this look. Innocent, yet seductive. Oh, I walked over, ignoring my headache, and placed the wine on the glass table. The wine's here. I'm leaving. Hey, Clara, don't be mad. Sophie suddenly grabbed my arm, pressing her tear-streaked face against my sleeve. I turned and frowned at her. Everyone here can vouch for us. We were just messing around like bros. If you misunderstand, you'll be doing us a great injustice. Huh, an injustice. I turned my head. Messing around like bros. Tears welled in her eyes as she nodded frantically. I pointed to a random guy in their group, another one of their friends. Then go kiss him, too. Sophie's face went white. Clara, what kind of person do you take me for? Her eyes filled with humiliation, her rims turning red like a wounded rabbit's. Just then, one of the guys stood up. Clara, come on. We're just playing a drinking game. Sophie's a girl. Don't make it so hard for her. Yeah, it's just a game. Heh. I turned to face them all, making it hard for her. So you know what that means. But forcing me to bring you wine when I'm sick, that's not making it hard for me. They fell silent, exchanging glances before looking to Leo. Leo, look at this. That's enough, Leo said, stepping forward and grabbing my arm. What is wrong with you today? I told you, we were just messing around. Why are you dragging this out? You've completely ruined the mood. He glared at me. Sophie is a girl. Did you have to embarrass her like that? A girl. His best bro was suddenly a girl again. I'm sorry, Clara. It's my fault. Sophie was now sobbing, tears streaming down her face. If I'd known you two would fight, I wouldn't have insisted on this wine. Oh, so it was Sophie who wanted the wine. My suspicion was confirmed. A crushing wave of exhaustion washed over me. All I wanted was to leave this ridiculous, farcical place. I shook off Leo's hand and turned to go. Clara, don't be angry. Sophie came to grab me again, but I shoved her away. Ah, she stumbled back, falling weakly into Leo's arms. That seemed to be the spark that ignited his rage. Clara, stop right there, he yelled from behind me. I turned. He was holding the whimpering Sophie, his face dark. Apologized to her. I stopped and looked calmly at his furious face. This was the same face that had once shown me so many emotions: concern, affection, tenderness, helplessness. Now, it was repeatedly twisted in anger at me, all for his bro. If you don't apologize today, we're done, he continued. In the room, all his good friends were watching us, their faces alight with the thrill of the drama. I felt like a monkey in a circus. Fine, I said, taking a step forward. What? Leo frowned. Oh, Leo, look at you. Sophie glanced at me, then patted Leo's arm affectionately, her eyes even redder. Why are you doing this? Don't make it hard for Clara. What did you say? Leo asked again. I said, fine, I repeated calmly, looking him in the eye. I agree. Let's be done. I must have still been dizzy, because it wasn't until I was in the taxi that I realized my apartment key was missing. It must have fallen out in the hallway at the bar. I had no choice but to go back. Luckily, the bartender had found it. As he was handing it to me, the door to Leo's private room opened. Sophie was supporting a drunk Leo, complaining as they walked towards the restroom. Honestly, even if you're mad at Clara, you need to take care of yourself, she cooed. If you don't care about yourself, someone else will. Leo giggled and cupped her face. Tell me, why? Why can't she be as understanding as you? She gives me attitude just for bringing wine, and now she wants to break up. Sophie sighed dramatically. Clara is pretty clueless, I'll give you that. You're so good to her. Other girls would kill to be in her shoes, but she's just bluffing about the breakup. You're a rich kid. How could she bear to leave you? Doesn't she always come crying back every time? Rich kid, money, Leo mumbled, his eyes glazed. Maybe you guys are right. Maybe she's just with me for my money, he then muttered to himself. Sometimes, I'm so damn tired of her. She's a sickly weakling. I'm already doing her a favor by not dumping her, and she's still so high maintenance. Oh, Leo, Sophie sighed. I'm telling you the truth, but you never want to hear it. She's only so dramatic because you spoil her. We all told you to put her in her place. Then she wouldn't dare act up. Who can you blame but yourself for being so soft? And stop worrying about whether she's after your money. Look at how she has you wrapped around her finger. Even if she is just after your money, you can't bear to break up with her anyway, so why torture yourself? With that, they disappeared into the bar's accessible restroom. Click, the door locked from the inside. The nausea returned. I turned and walked away. Maybe it was the night air, but I woke up in the middle of the night with a raging fever. In my delirious state, I dreamt of my past with Leo. We grew up together in an orphanage. I was frail from a young age, and for as long as I could remember, Leo was by my side. He would fight off the other kids who bullied me. He would run barefoot to find a doctor when I was sick. He would hold my hand, his childish voice vowing, "Don't worry, Clara, I'll take care of you for the rest of our lives." Once, when the orphanage caught fire, he had already been rescued but rushed back into the flames for me. A falling ember burned his shoulder, leaving a permanent scar. Back then, I wondered what kind of love could be more important than one's own life. I had no parents, no family. Leo was the kindest person to me in the entire world, so I told myself, Clara, you must always be good to Leo. When we were 16, Leo's birth parents found him. It turned out he was the long-lost son of the wealthy Chin family. He was taken back, and overnight, he became a rich kid, but he didn't forget me. He would sneak over to my high school to see me, bringing food and medicine, and we promised to go to the same university, and we did. We were the most envied couple on campus, and it was then that Sophie and his gang of bros appeared in our lives. Sophie was a minor influencer in the university town, known for her one of the guys' personality. She seemed to treat all the guys around her like brothers. The Chin family was a big name in our city. I had seen enough of the world to know what these bros were really after. I tried to warn Leo more than once. He just brushed it off. On the contrary, he relished being the center of attention. After we made it official in college, Leo took me to meet his family. He knelt before his parents and declared he would only ever marry me. Leo's mother had a kind face, and she doted on him, but she was incredibly harsh with me. In her eyes, I, an orphan of unknown origin, was unworthy of the Chin family. When his parents refused, Leo stood in the rain outside their villa all night. The next day, he was hospitalized with pneumonia, his fever soaring to 104 degrees Fahrenheit. My heart ached for him. To save him from being torn between me and his parents, I did everything I could to please his mother. I endured her deliberate slights, accepted her constant criticism, and watched my every move, giving no one a reason to find fault. Over time, she grudgingly accepted me, but she still summoned me to the Chen estate every weekend, for what she called wife coaching. On those days, the household staff would be given the day off, and I alone had to serve his mother and all her friends, pouring tea, washing dishes, holding umbrellas. You're so sickly because you lack exercise, his mother would say, admiring her fresh manicure while I stood there, panting and drenched in sweat. You'll be fine after some hard work. Her friends would scrutinize me. She looks so frail. Can she even bear children? Mrs. Chen, you should really take her for a check up. If she has no family background and can't even have children, what a waste that would be. At the Chens, I was like a commodity, constantly being inspected, judged, and commented on by their condescending gazes. I never told Leo any of this. I knew how hard he was working to take over the family company, and didn't want to burden him with my family troubles. And honestly, it wasn't that bad. As long as Leo loved me, defended me, and stood firmly by my side, none of that humiliation mattered. After graduation, I received a great job offer, but the Chen family forbade me from taking it. Leo and I had a huge fight. He said I was being selfish. Don't you know your own health? He roared. I don't get it. My family is letting you live a life of leisure as Mrs. Chen. What are you so unhappy about? Clara, why are you always so selfish? Do you have any idea how much I've done to get my family to accept you? Why can't you be a little more considerate of me? Tears streamed down his face. I risked my life to save you that year. Can't you compromise for me, just this once? And so, I compromised again, because he had saved my life, because he had been so good to me, because he was the only light in my world. Whenever I thought of the boy who had braved storms and fire for me, whenever I saw the scar on his shoulder, no matter how bad the fight, I always found a reason to make up with him. I asked for nothing else, only that we could be together, forever. And it wasn't until today that I understood. He thought I wouldn't leave him because I couldn't bear to lose his money. He was so tired of me. This wasn't the first time he had deliberately tested me like this. And the reason I went to deliver the wine, perhaps I was just looking for the final straw to break my own heart. In my dream, the tears flowed endlessly. The sunny boy from my memories seemed to stand behind me, waving and shouting happily, Clara, wait for me, let's go together. But I no longer wanted to walk with him. I was too tired. I let the tears fall, walking forward step by step, until I reached the end of the sunset. And when I looked back, the figure from my memory had been washed away by my tears, leaving no trace. I woke up the next morning, my fever gone, though my body felt heavy. I opened my suitcase and started packing. Just then, the front door of the apartment opened. Sophie's voice drifted in from outside my bedroom. Leo, don't forget the slam dunk movie this afternoon. We promised to go together. I'll wear my Shohoku jersey. Leo grunted in agreement. My hand stilled. Today was the day Leo was supposed to go with me to meet my birth parents. A week ago, the orphanage had contacted me, saying they might have found them. They needed a hair sample for a DNA test first. Today was the day the results came out. When I first got the news, I was a nervous wreck. Leo had promised he would be there with me, but in just a few days, he had forgotten. He was going to see Slam Dunk with someone else. Creak. My bedroom door opened. It was Leo. What are you doing? What tantrum are you throwing now? He frowned at the sight of me packing. Don't you know your own health? If you're going on a trip now, I don't have time to go with you. I don't need you to, I said softly. We broke up last night. I'm moving out today. Heh. He froze for a second, then laughed. Clara, everyone said I spoil you too much, and I never believed them. But look at you now. What have you become? Threatening to break up at every turn. Are you so sure I can't live without you? He knelt down, disgustedly pulling my hands away from the suitcase. That's enough. Wasn't last night's display enough for you? You used delivering wine as an excuse to humiliate me in front of my friends, and you deliberately embarrassed Sophie. Are you still not satisfied? A surge of anger rose in my chest. I looked up and met his gaze. Leo, first, I told you I was sick, and you insisted I bring the wine. Second, you kissed Sophie first, and she was the one who approached me. Third, you were the one who said we should break up. I pulled his hands off and zipped up my suitcase. I was never sure you couldn't live without me, and I'm not the one who can't live without you. Is there any point to this? He raised his voice. You're always making a scene, using your bad health as an excuse. Do I owe you something? He raged. Clara, don't you have any idea how good I've been to you? I almost died for you. Last night, I just wanted to test you, to see how much you really cared about me, and the test worked, didn't it? He grabbed my arm. Do you know what my friends say about you behind my back? They say you're a gold digger, and I'm a fool, that you're only with me for my money. Can't you just prove them wrong? But what have you done? I've given so much for you. What have you ever done for me? What's wrong with me wanting to see for myself? I met his tirade with silence, which only fueled his anger. I really loved the wrong person. You really want to break up? Huh, fine. I won't stop you. Let's break up. But you'd better think carefully before you walk out that door. The position of the Chin family's daughter-in-law won't be saved for just anyone. I looked up into his hungover, listless eyes. Through those eyes, I used to see a beautiful past, mutual support, sweet love, and a hopeful future. Now, all I saw was a wasteland. You succeeded, Leo, I said softly. What? He flinched. You finally succeeded, Leo. You succeeded in making me sick of this relationship. You succeeded in killing my love for you. I left the apartment. Leo didn't follow. I hadn't found a new place to live yet, and I didn't have a job. I spent half the day in a KFC, putting on some light makeup to hide my swollen eyes. A few moments ago, the DNA results had come in. Tonight, I would meet my birth parents. Leo had once said that parents who would abandon their newborn child were either misogynistic or just terrible people. He speculated that they were only seeking me out now because they knew about my relationship with him and wanted to leech off the Chen family's money and resources. Now that we had broken up, I wondered if they would be disappointed to see me. I didn't really know what a family was. Leo used to say he was my family, and that his family was my family, but with those so-called family, all I ever felt was exhaustion and torment. The sunset today was beautiful, the clouds swirling in the sky, gilded with a warm, golden light. I sat by the window, watching the sun slowly sink, then finally picked up my suitcase and walked out of the KFC. The meeting place was a restaurant not far away. I was dragging my heavy suitcase, about to cross the road, when an electric scooter came speeding towards me. In a flash, I couldn't dodge in time, but a strong hand from behind pulled me back, spinning me and my suitcase around. The scooter whizzed past, just brushing the hem of my dress. "Are you okay?" a voice asked from above me. It was a pleasant, magnetic male voice. I shook my head and quickly thanked him. "No problem. There are a lot of scooters here. You have to be careful," he said with a smile, but then he froze when he saw my face. Could you be Clara?" I was stunned. "I'm Clara. Are you?" "I'm your cousin's brother-in-law." He grinned. "You look so much like Aunt Nora. Do we even need a DNA test?" The Lawsons have just been tricked too many times, so they're being overly cautious. But we've had a lot of imposters with plastic surgery try to claim the family fortune, so we can't be too careful. He sighed. "Come on," he said warmly, taking my suitcase. "The Lawson Group has a lot of loose-lipped employees, so we're meeting at a Thorn Group restaurant to protect your privacy. I've cleared the place out, so don't worry." "You said, Lawson Group, Thorn Group." He thought for a moment, then an awe escaped his lips. "Oh, right. You don't know yet." He smiled. "You're the only daughter of the second son of the Lawson Group. I'm Ethan Thorn, from the Thorn Group. My sister married your cousin, so our families are connected." The Lawson Group, the Thorn Group. Before I could process it, I was already at the restaurant entrance with Ethan. A group of people was standing there, looking anxiously in our direction. Suddenly, a beautiful, elegant woman rushed forward and hugged me. "Are you Clara? Are you my Clara?" she sobbed, cupping my face. "It's really my child, Arthur. Our child is back." A tall, distinguished man came from behind her, his eyes also red. "Yes, our child has come home." Looking at the face that was a 7-tenths match to my own, my eyes began to sting. "Uncle Arthur, Aunt Nora, let's go inside first," Ethan said softly. My birth mother held my hand tightly all the way to the VIP room. I could feel her hand trembling slightly. The orphanage director and a police officer were also there. They told the story of how they found me. Apparently, after my mother, Nora Lawson, gave birth to me, she had hired a nanny named Eva. Nora was ill for a while after childbirth, and Eva, thinking my mother was weak, tried to seduce my father, Arthur Lawson. When my father rejected her, Eva was furious. After she was fired, she snuck back and stole me. Technology wasn't as advanced back then. Even with all their money, the Lawson family searched for a long time but couldn't find Eva. Half a year later, the police found Eva's clothes and some baby items, along with a suicide note, on an undeveloped beach. The note said that since she couldn't have my father, she would make sure he never forgot her, so she took his child and died with her. The police later found Eva's body in the sea, but they never found mine. They assumed I had been eaten by fish. 4 years. Though most people assumed I was dead, my parents never gave up hope. They never had another child, holding on to a sliver of hope, searching and waiting, but Eva hadn't killed me. Perhaps it was a final shred of kindness, or a twisted desire to fulfill some fantasy. but she left me at the doorstep of an orphanage in the next county, with a note saying my name was Clara and that my mother was an unmarried woman who couldn't raise me. She gave me her own last name. Later, that orphanage had a fire, and we were all transferred to an orphanage in this city, but because my record stated my birth mother's name, no one ever thought I could be the Lawson family's long-lost heiress. For all these years, my parents and I lived in the same city, but we never met. Until recently, during a charity project for the Thorn Group, Ethan was chatting with my old orphanage director and mentioned the fire. The director pulled out an old group photo of the children, and Ethan noticed that I looked exactly like a young Nora Lawson from her acting days. He was suspicious and told the Lawson family. Over the years, the Lawsons had dealt with countless imposters, some even forging DNA reports, all for the sake of inheriting my parents' massive fortune. So this time, they were just as nervous as I was, daring not to hope. Though they were desperate to see me, they held back, fearing that greater hope would only lead to greater disappointment. That night, I went home with my parents. My uncle and cousin's family were there too. My mother held my hand and asked gently, "Clara, we heard from the orphanage director that you're dating the young master of the Chin family. Is that right?" I paused. We don't mean anything by it," she said quickly, "although the Chin family is a few steps below us. If you like him, your father and I will support you." I shook my head. "Dad, Mom, we've already broken up." My father asked what I wanted to do next. If I was willing to learn to manage the company. I hesitated. I had no work experience. "I'm afraid I don't have the ability," I said, looking down. "Clara just got back. Why are you rushing her?" My mother immediately complained. That night, I slept with my mother. I'm a light sleeper and knew she woke up many times, gently stroking my hair and sobbing softly. The next morning, my father personally made me breakfast, watching me eat with red-rimmed eyes, carefully asking if I liked it. In the days after returning home, I felt a love and affection I had never known. They were trying their best to make up for the lost years, but I knew that they had probably suffered more than I had. A few days later, my cousin, Ryan, came to see me. Ethan was with him. Ryan said that my father's health hadn't been good in recent years. The mental torment of searching for me and the pressure of work had weighed on him like two mountains. Doctors had long advised him to retire. I had already noticed the white in his temples. He was 5 years younger than my uncle but looked much older. "Clara, the Lawson Group has 2 main business sectors. I'm in charge of one, and your father is in charge of the other. His part will eventually be yours." Ryan asked me, "Are you willing to learn?" I lowered my head and thought for a long time before finally nodding. "I'm willing to try." Ryan let out a breath of relief, but Ethan, who had been silent, suddenly spoke up. "I don't think putting her directly in the Lawson Group is a good idea." Ryan looked up. "Why not? The Lawson Group is full of sharks. She looks so much like Aunt Nora. Don't you think people will guess her identity? The gossip is one thing, but more importantly, that kind of work environment and interpersonal dynamics won't be conducive to her learning." Ryan frowned. "You have a point. Then, in for a penny, in for a pound." Ethan smiled. He walked over to me. "If you really want to learn company management, how about coming to my place?" "Me? Huh?" He winked. "The Thorn Group is just as big as the Lawson Group, you know." So, with my parents' blessing, I started working at the Thorn Group. "Didn't you say I'd be in a business department?" On my first day, I stood in Ethan's massive office, staring at my temporary ID badge. It read, clear as day, President's Office. "What would you learn in a business department?" Ethan said, "Signing documents. You need to learn how to manage a company. So of course you need to learn from the best teacher." "The best teacher? Who?" I was confused. He looked up from his pile of documents and flashed me a grin. "Me, of course." At first glance, Ethan seems like a playboy. He loves cars, collects all kinds of luxury vehicles, and has even built a private garage for them. He's also an athlete, playing basketball for at least an hour every evening at the company court. His regular exercise gives him an impeccable physique, broad shoulders, a narrow waist, and long, straight legs. I heard that many female employees volunteer for overtime just to watch him play, but after spending time with him, you realize this is just a facade. He is a brilliant manager. As his assistant, I followed him into negotiations, client meetings, and board meetings. He appeared casual, but he could pinpoint an opponent's weakness with a single, witty remark. He seemed nonchalant about many things but was always in complete control. Unlike my serious cousin Ryan, he rarely worked overtime. Aside from necessary business dinners, he hardly ever drank or smoked. He would take the time after a tense negotiation to debrief with me, simulating different scenarios and making me think of solutions. He would also have me write meeting outlines and point out what the key focus should be. He was incredibly observant. The moment I showed the slightest sign of fatigue, he would tell me to go home and rest. At first, I insisted I could keep going. "There's no need. Why push yourself when you're tired?" He'd smile. "A wise man once said, rest is just as important as the journey." "Who said that?" I asked, wide-eyed. He blinked. I forgot his name, but I think he had a good point. Being with Ethan was both comfortably relaxed and full of unexpected guidance and enlightenment. He never pressured me, but he was a master at guiding me. The constant tension and weariness in my heart seemed to ease under his influence. I learned so much and grew so quickly, but at the same time, his brilliance made me doubt myself. Could I really do it? Could I ever be like that? A month passed quickly in a blur of work. One day at noon, in the mall owned by the Thorn Group, I unexpectedly ran into Leo and Sophie. Ethan's birthday was next week, and I wanted to get him a gift to thank him for his help. He didn't need anything. Of course, he even owned this mall. After much deliberation, I chose a red blessing cord that I had to braid myself. It was the thought that counted. As I passed a few luxury boutiques, I heard Sophie's voice. "Oh, you're buying this perfume for your auntie. She'll love it." The mall was nearly empty, and the sound of their heels was too distinct. When I turned, they both saw me. Leo looked listless, but a spark lit up his eyes when he saw me. "Clara." Sophie glanced at Leo, then at the bag in my hand, and walked over with a smile. "Clara, are you also here to buy a birthday gift for your auntie?" She clicked her tongue. "This gift? Listen to me. This won't do. You need to buy something high-end. That's what she likes." Hearing Sophie, Leo's chin lifted slightly. "Where have you been this past month?" He frowned. "Don't think you can just braid some cord and I'll forgy." His gaze fell on my ID badge. "What's this?" "Hey, President's office." Sophie read the words on my temporary badge, which had no name, and covered her mouth to laugh. "Clara, why are you working as a receptionist at the Thorn Group? Is it a temp job?" Leo's frown deepened. "Where I work is none of your business," I said coolly, turning to leave. "Clara, that's not a nice thing to say. Why are you still holding a grudge?" Sophie stepped forward to grab me, looking at Leo with a pained expression. "You can't just throw a tantrum and not consider Leo." Just then, Leo spoke. "Sophie, go wait for me over there." Sophie paused, then reluctantly walked away. Leo came over and snatched the gift box from my hand. "Why are you working as a receptionist? Isn't that embarrassing enough for the family?" he said angrily. "Stop this nonsense and move back in. Mom is already angry that you've been gone so long. She's asked me about you several times. I told her you weren't feeling well, and that's the only reason she hasn't said more. Do you have to make things impossible before you're satisfied? When Mom refuses to let you in the door again, how will you fix it? Do you really think braiding this worthless red cord will make her forgive you?" "Leo," I snatched the box back, cutting him off coldly. "We broke up. How many times do I have to say it? This red cord is for someone else. It has nothing to do with your mother." But he still held on to my hand. "Why are you being so stubborn? What a coincidence this is. Let go of me, Clara." I turned. It was Ethan, walking towards us with another assistant. Leo saw Ethan and froze. You're the Thorn Group's, Mr. Thorn." Ethan turned and gave him a faint glance. "And you are?" "I'm Leo Chen from the Chen Corporation," Leo said, hastily offering his business card. "My parents contacted you before, hoping to partner with Thorn Group in the daily goods sector, to become one of your distributors. Our bidding for this year is already closed," Ethan said with a polite smile. "If your company is interested, you can bid again next year. Mr. Thorn, could you please reconsider our company?" Leo's face was filled with panic. "My parents know you like cars. They wanted to invite you, Mr. Chen." Ethan interrupted. "My personal hobbies have no bearing on my company's decisions. Mr. Thorn, your receptionist, Clara, is Mr. Chen's girlfriend." Sophie, who had sidled up, suddenly shouted. Everyone froze. Leo looked at Sophie, confused. Sophie smiled at Ethan. "Mr. Thorn, Mr. Chen is truly sincere. He even had Clara come work as your receptionist to show his dedication. It's all just to get a chance with the Thorn Group. Isn't that right, Clara?" Ethan paused and looked at me. "Ex-girlfriend," I corrected. Mr. Thorn. Leo, who had apparently caught on to Sophie's plan, immediately plastered on a smile. "Clara is just playing with you. We didn't break up. She even came here today specifically to buy a birthday gift for my mom." Clara doesn't have many skills, so I hope you'll forgive her if she's caused you any trouble, but we are sincere about getting to know you. We've always regretted that our companies haven't collaborated. This isn't about exes, Ethan said, ignoring him and turning to me. When did you become my receptionist? Before I could answer, Sophie cut in. Clara, you mean this is fake too? Forging an ID badge. That's... Leo's face darkened. Mr. Thorne, I just wanted to. I know what you mean, Mr. Chen. You want to talk business, right? Ethan waved his hand, then talk to my assistant. Leo's face lit up. Of course. Who is your assistant? My assistant, Ethan said, looking at me. Since you two already know each other, I won't bother with introductions. He then added a reminder. But she's very busy. Remember to make an appointment. When Ethan and I left, Leo and Sophie were still standing there, as if they had been struck by lightning. Why did you have me handle this? I asked. After explaining my history with Leo, he pondered for a moment. I heard from Ryan that Aunt Nora wanted to give you the Lawson Group's golf club, but you refused. I nodded. The Lawson Golf Club was the premier gathering spot for the city's elite women. My mother had been the club's president. Those women are all sharks. I was afraid I couldn't handle them. He considered this. Then this is the perfect opportunity to practice. There are 2 reasons I want you to handle the Chen Corporation. First, it's good practice. I've seen the proposal they submitted. It's well packaged, but it has hidden flaws. See if you can spot them. Think of it as a little test. And second, that Leo, isn't he your ex-boyfriend? So, I didn't understand. You know, you're a lot like my sister, he said softly. Girls always tend to give too much in relationships, and end up getting hurt. I don't know why you broke up, but from what I saw, he wasn't a very considerate boyfriend, so I'm giving you full authority. If you want to meet with him, meet. If you don't. If you can negotiate with your ex without emotion, then nothing will ever faze you again. Of course, if you can't detach, you're free to make things as difficult for him as you want. It's your call. Is that okay? I asked, my eyes wide. Isn't that favoritism? What's wrong with that? He chuckled. Didn't Ryan ever tell you? I always back my people, right or wrong. I thought for a moment. So I'm borrowing the tiger's might. Do you think I'm raising a fox? He countered with a raised eyebrow. I'm raising a tiger. A few days later, Leo sat across from me, his face grim. I didn't want to make things difficult. As Ethan said, this was valuable experience. I tried to be professional, discussing the issues in his proposal, but he suddenly cut me off. How did you become Ethan Thorne's assistant? I paused, then said coolly, Mr. Chen, we're discussing business. What did you have to sell? He raised his voice. What? I was stunned. Even top university graduates struggle to get a junior position. At the Thorne Group, you haven't worked since graduation. How could you suddenly become his assistant? His eyes were red as he grabbed my hand. I risked my life for you. I protected you and loved you for all these years, just so you could warm some other man's bed. Let go. I frowned. I won't. He insisted, pulling me towards him. Have you forgotten? You're mine. You've always been mine. What right does Ethan have to you? Did he save your life? He's just a little richer than me. Clara, open your eyes. He can have any woman he wants. He's just playing with you. When he's tired of you, he'll throw you away like trash. No man in this world will ever be better to you than I am. Wake up, Leo. Let go. We're quitting right now. After Mom's birthday, we'll get married. So what if we offend the Thorne Group? We'll just never do business with them. Leo. I shook his hand off. He turned, his eyes red. I really love you. Why can't you understand? I looked at him calmly. We broke up. Why can't you understand? What breakup? We were just having a fight. I shook my head. Leo, it's not that you don't understand. You're just used to me coming back to you after every fight. But this time is different. I handed the documents back to him. I've noted all the issues with your proposal. I'm afraid it doesn't meet our requirements. The same goes for us. We can't go back. We just can't. After Leo left, I sat alone in the conference room for a long time. Saying those words, we can't go back, hurt me as much as they hurt him. The person I had once admired and loved so much. We had come to this. My phone vibrated. A message from Leo. I know I was wrong. It was wrong of me to make you bring the wine when I was drunk. I only found the fever reducers on your nightstand later. That's when I knew you really had a fever. Clara, I don't care what happened between you and Ethan. As long as you come back, I'll take you. Come back. If you ignore me, I'll keep trying. I'll keep trying until you change your mind. Clara, you can't just throw away all these years of history. Finally, He sent a photo. It was the scar on his shoulder. A sudden wave of frustration washed over me, like a waterlogged sponge clogging my chest. The familiar feeling of breathlessness returned. I blocked Leo's number. The sun set, and the city lights began to sparkle outside the window. "So this is where you are." The door opened. It was Ethan. He came to my side. "I heard you met with Leo today. Didn't go well." I nodded. I tried to be professional, but my emotions got the better of me. "That's normal. You did great," he said. "People aren't robots, but as a manager, many will try to manipulate your emotions. It's a hurdle you have to clear." "I know, but if your cousin finds out you're upset because of a job I gave you, he'll probably want to kill me." He smiled, walking to the door. "So, for the sake of my own safety, work is officially over for today. Now, your big brother Ethan is taking you out to have some fun." Ethan somehow produced 2 bicycles. He led me on a ride through the summer night, weaving through streets and alleys, sampling all kinds of street food. I was like a little animal being fed. Stinky tofu, fish cakes, fried pastries, chicken skewers. The cool night breeze lifted my hair. I looked at Ethan, who was watching me eat with his chin in his hand, and finally asked, "Why does it seem like you never have any worries?" How could I not?" He smiled, tucking a stray strand of my hair behind my ear. "I have plenty of worries." He told me about when he first took over the Thorn Group. "You know, during my inauguration speech, my palms were sweating so much I thought my voice was shaking. The board members were all old enough to be my grandfather, and every one of them was as sharp as a tack. I was so anxious, desperate for their approval. I even dreamed about meetings at night. And then what happened? Then I realized I didn't need their approval. You just have to be yourself, please yourself, and they'll naturally fall in line. But there's a ceiling to ability," I said, looking down. "I've never been good at socializing, because I was always frail. I was always alone." We were different. He was raised to be the heir to the Thorn Group, while I had been an ordinary person for over 20 years. He shook his head. "No, you can do it. Want to try something?" he asked. Ethan took me to a lit basketball court. It was just the 2 of us. I had never played basketball before. My gym grades were always terrible, but he insisted on teaching me how to shoot. "Okay, lift your hands higher. Yes, aim, and go." He tirelessly corrected my form, as serious as a real coach. "Why do you like playing basketball?" I asked, curious. "Because it looks cool," he said, adjusting my posture. "Have you seen Slam Dunk?" I shook my head. "When I was younger, I thought all the cool anime and drama heroes were great at basketball, so I practiced like crazy, imagining I was one of them. But later, it became my primary way to stress, the exhilarating competition, the thrill of the game. It makes you forget everything else and just focus on the moment." I tried another shot. Clang. It went in. I cheered happily and high-fived him. "So, basketball became my daily routine," he continued with a smile, "but not for the same reason anymore. After all, my name isn't exactly a heartthrob's name." "Your name." He tossed me the ball. "When I was born, I cried a lot. My mom wanted me to be tough, so she named me Ethan. The original name means a pile of stones, implying rock, solid toughness." Where are you tough?" I said, bouncing the ball, the words tumbling out before I could think. He froze. I froze. A cool breeze rustled through the court. I was holding the basketball, but suddenly it felt like a hot coal. After a moment, he let out a soft laugh. "Can you drive?" I wasn't making a dirty joke, I retorted instantly. He was caught between laughter and exasperation. "I mean, can you drive my car? The drink I bought at the court has alcohol in it." My face turned beet red. "Clara, just dig a hole and crawl into it." "I can, but I haven't driven much," I stammered. "Leo used to say I was too frail and never let me drive." The thought of Leo made me realize that since I'd been with Ethan, I hadn't thought of him once. Ethan called his driver to bring the car, and he took me to a drive-in theater in the suburbs. The movie was Slam Dunk. When I was a kid, my favorite character was Sakuragi. He still is, he said softly after the movie. "A lot of people have different opinions about this movie. They don't get why Miyagi is the protagonist." I was a little disappointed too, but I get it. We all want to be the naturally gifted superstar, but most of us are like Miyagi, the underdog who has to fight for every point. As long as you're true to yourself and never give up, you'll get your chance for that winning shot. And even if you miss, just being on the court means you have no regrets, right? The end credits were rolling. I suddenly understood what he was trying to say. "Thank you for today," I whispered. "I'm a sensitive person." I knew that tonight, which seemed so spontaneous, had been carefully planned. It was to help me regain my confidence, overcome my emotional turmoil, and break free from the cage I had built for myself. You get emotional too easily, you silly girl. A man could easily trick you like this. I'm thanking you. Why are you ruining the mood? I glared at him. I'm just grateful that you put so much thought into this for me. He raised an eyebrow. A breeze blew, rustling the leaves. He said something else, but I didn't quite catch it over the sound. It's nothing, really. I only put this much thought into things I care about. The next day, I told my mother I was ready to take over the golf club. I wanted to try. My mom was thrilled and quickly made the arrangements. At the club, my assistant, Zoe, told me someone was at the door asking for me. For me? Yes, that Mrs. Chen somehow heard that you were taking over the club. She's here with a gift, insisting on seeing you. I frowned. When I walked out, it was indeed Leo's mother. She was carrying a box, a fawning smile on her face that vanished the moment she saw me. Clara, what are you doing here? She sneered. The other day, Sophie told me you were cozying up to someone at the Thorn Group, and I didn't believe her. Which sugar daddy did you come here with? I told my son you were no good, she said with a cold laugh, pulling out her phone to take a picture. Now I've caught you red-handed. Don't think coming here with some man will get you a membership. This club is very exclusive. They don't just let any stray in. I watched her silently, sat down at the tea table, and poured myself a cup. You're right. They don't let in just any stray. Otherwise, you wouldn't have had your application rejected 10 times. What did you say? She shrieked, raising her hand. Clara, let me tell you, with an attitude like that, you can forget about ever marrying into my family. Marrying into the Chen family. I sipped my tea slowly. Mrs. Chen, perhaps you should worry more about why you can't get into this club. You. Just then, Zoe came over with Mrs. Chen's application file. Oh, Zoe. Mrs. Chen's face instantly broke into a smile. Hasn't Miss Lawson come out yet? Zoe looked at me, then at Mrs. Chen. But, this is our Miss Lawson. What? Her smile froze on her face. She looked at me, then at Zoe. Zoe, you're quite the joker these days. Why would I joke with you? Zoe said, confused. Our Miss Lawson is very busy today but specifically made time to interview you. Miss, she turned to me. Do you need any other documents? No need. I tossed the file on the table and stood up. The interview is over. Wait. After a moment, Mrs. Chen seemed to realize what was happening. She chased after me, grabbing my sleeve. Clara, she forced a smile. Look at this misunderstanding. We're all family here. I pulled my hand from her grasp. Mrs. Chen, is your memory failing you? You were the one who just said you would never allow me into the Chen family. Oh, what are you saying? We've known each other for so long. I've always thought of you as my own daughter. I'm sorry, a cool voice said from behind. My daughter isn't looking to adopt a mother. I turned. Mom. My mother walked over gracefully, an icy aura around her. Mrs. Chen, is it? My daughter's ex-boyfriend's mother. The one who made my daughter serve you tea at your home every weekend, for the past few years. Correct. Mrs. Chen froze. A misunderstanding. It's all a misunderstanding. I was just treating Clara like a daughter. In law, no daughter of the Lawson family will serve tea to anyone, no matter who she marries, my mother said. She was a head taller than Mrs. Chen and looked down at her like a queen. Of course, if that's a Chen family tradition and you're willing to come to the club every day to serve tea and hold umbrellas, I might consider granting you a lower tier membership based on your performance. Mrs. Chen stammered, then fled with her gift. Find out which of her friends have memberships here. Cancel them all, my mother instructed, then turned and hugged me tightly. Clara, it's all my fault. If only I had found you sooner. I let you suffer. I shook my head and hugged her back tightly. In truth, I had already gained the most precious thing in the world. After all, what is more valuable than a family that stands by you unconditionally? Those distant people and events no longer mattered. I only hoped to grow quickly, to become their pillar of support in the future. I had been so busy with the golf club that I hadn't been to the Thorn Group for 2 weeks. After lunch with my mom, I headed over. When I arrived, I found the president's office staff whispering among themselves. You haven't heard, Clara, one of the senior assistants, Linda, whispered to me. We're all talking about the new temp. We needed help organizing some files, so we hired a few temps from an agency. One of them is something else. She's always hanging around the president's office, dressed so revealingly. The drivers can't take their eyes off her. And that's not all. She's always trying to get close to Mr. Thorne, bringing him coffee all the time. The strange thing is, it seems like he's actually falling for it. She clicked her tongue. I always thought Mr. Thorne had high standards, since he's been single for so long. But I guess even he's not immune. Just then, the door to the president's office opened. Linda gave me a gesture and gestured with her chin. Ethan walked out first, followed by a shy-looking Sophie. Seeing me, Ethan waved. Clara, perfect timing. Come have dinner with a client. I paused, then walked over. Sophie shot me a glance and quickly moved to stand beside Ethan. The walk was silent, punctuated only by the cheerful clicking of Sophie's high heels. In the private dining room, Sophie once again sat herself next to Ethan. Mr. Thorne, can we order the king crab later? She asked sweetly. Ethan smiled. We'll order the main courses when our guest arrives. Just then, the door opened. Sophie and I both froze. It was Leo. Sophie. Leo was just as surprised to see her. What are you doing here? Sophie began, but Ethan cut her off. Serve the food. The television in the room suddenly turned on. The screen showed Ethan's office. Sophie was placing a cup of coffee in front of him. Aren't you Mr. Chen's friend? Ethan's voice asked. Oh, I'm not really close with Leo. He's pursuing me, but I haven't said yes. After all, Clara is his girlfriend, and I would never be a third party. Besides, he's not my type. Mr. Thorne, honestly, I don't really approve of Leo's character. The way he harassed you at the mall, it was so embarrassing. The Chen Corporation does have some core technology. Didn't they just apply for a patent on some confidential tech? Ethan's voice was casual. Mr. Thorne. Sophie leaned closer. Actually, if you're interested in that technology, I could help you. The video ended. Ethan tossed a sealed envelope across the table. I haven't opened this. I don't know if it's real. To be honest, if the Thorne Group wanted to develop this technology, it would be simple. We're just not interested. He toyed with the red cord I had made him. Miss Sophie, if you were sent here by Mr. Chen, then I admire his boldness, but I'm afraid he doesn't know me very well. This kind of beauty doesn't really interest me, and if you weren't sent by him, then I admire his courage. To so casually give away something that is the lifeblood of his company, I certainly couldn't do that. Leo clutched the envelope, and after a long moment, managed to choke out. I didn't send her. Thank you for returning this, Mr. Thorne. No need for thanks. Just consider it a favor you owe me. You, as a CEO, how could you record someone like that? Sophie trembled. Ethan laughed. What? You didn't even know what kind of person I am or what equipment I have in my office, and you dared to come talk to me. Also, my mother taught me from a young age to never drink anything a stranger hands me. He turned to Leo with a half-smile. Okay, I've said my piece, Mr. Chen. How you and your bro resolve this is your business, but take some advice. Be more careful about the company you keep. Sophie's face turned towards Leo. Leo, I wasn't. Shut up. Leo's voice trembled with rage. Ethan stood up and pulled me with him. Mr. Thorne, you're being fooled. You know that. Sophie shot up, her voice a shriek. Clara is a scheming woman. She scammed Leo for his money, and now she's scamming you for yours. She's got you completely wrapped around her finger. You're just a giant sucker. You know that. Ethan paused, a slight smile on his face. Am I? He turned back. If it's for her, then I'm willing to be. Sophie stared at him in disbelief. Just then, Leo's phone rang. Mom, whatever it is, can it wait? What? You said, Clara's parents are who? He turned to look at me, his hand holding the phone beginning to tremble. After he hung up, he seemed to be in a daze. No, that's impossible. My mom said you're the Lawson heiress. But Clara, your last name? It's not Lawson, the Lawson heiress. The one they say is inheriting half the family fortune. Sophie froze. That can't be right. Her name isn't Lawson. I haven't used that name in a long time. I said coolly, my name is Lawson, Clara Lawson. After we left the room, we could still faintly hear Sophie's crying and their arguing. It sounded like a glass shattered. I frowned and called the restaurant manager. Go check on the damage in that room later. Make them pay for everything. That afternoon, Ethan took me to a dealership to pick up my new car, an SUV. Ryan and his wife, Chloe, were there too. You're turning my little sister into quite the badass, Ryan said to Ethan with a laugh. Not many girls can handle a car like this. She picked it herself. Okay. Ethan raised an eyebrow. I'm just the driving coach. At best. That evening, the Lawson family hosted a business banquet, mainly to introduce me to the city's business community. Everything went smoothly until the media interview session, when a commotion broke out at the door. It was Leo's mother. She claimed Leo had tried to kill himself. I'm begging you, Miss Lawson, Leo saved your life, she cried, rushing in and kneeling before me in front of all the reporters. You can't just abandon him now that you've found your rich family. He's loved you for so many years. If you leave him, he'll really die, she wailed, and reporters' cameras flashed, creating chaos. In the lounge, my family and Ethan were with me. Clara, don't worry, you don't need to go to the hospital. Your father and I will handle this, my dad said. We've already spoken to the media. No photos from tonight will be leaked, Ryan added. Clara, you've had a long day. Why don't you rest? My gaze lifted and met Ethan's from across the room. I shook my head. Dad, Ryan, if I'm going to take over the Lawson business, I can't always rely on you to solve my problems. This started because of me, and I'll be the one to end it. Even so, my family insisted on coming with me to the hospital. In the hospital room, Leo lay pale on the bed. When he saw me, he grabbed my wrist. Clara, he said through tears, I knew you'd come. You can't let me go. Leo, you say you can't live without me. Is it because of the Lawson family's money? He froze. What are you saying? He looked deeply wounded. How could you think that of me? Clara, how could my feelings for you have anything to do with your family's money? So you know how hurtful words like that can be. The air fell silent. He became flustered. Clara, I pried his fingers off my wrist, one by one. Leo, I came here to make you understand that you and I are really, truly over. Do you know why I've had trouble breathing all these years? He stared at me blankly. Because in this relationship, I always felt like I was suffocating from the pressure of his love, from the doubts and tests, from the countless moments of disappointment and despair, from the endless internal conflict, and from my own weak, unwilling self. Don't you get it? I used to tell myself that everything you did was for my own good, but love isn't about imprisonment, or paying back a debt, and it certainly isn't filled with suspicion. True love doesn't require tests or a demand for equal returns. It requires unconditional trust and willing devotion. The moment you doubted our relationship because of a few words from others, the moment you maintained an ambiguous relationship with another girl, the moment you repeatedly blamed me for our problems, we were already over. That is the real reason we couldn't be together. So you've wanted to break up with me for a long time, haven't you? His voice was choked with tears. I know you never loved me that much, but I loved you so much. I loved you more than my own life. That's right. Leo's mother burst in, crying. My son saved you. Who in this world could be better to you? You can't be so heartless. My father and uncle stepped forward to block her. My father spoke, his voice grave. Leo, you always say you saved Clara's life. We checked the records from that year. You did rush into the fire, but you immediately ran into the 2 firefighters who had already rescued her. Clara was unconscious. When she woke up, you told her you saved her, deliberately hiding the truth about the firefighters. Because of the chaos back then, and because you all left for the city orphanage, you kept this a secret. You were just afraid she would leave you, so you used this to make her feel grateful and guilty. Leo's mother stared blankly. What? That's impossible. My son wouldn't lie. We found both firefighters. Would you like us to bring them here to have a chat with your son? My uncle said coldly. My father took a few steps forward. My daughter didn't want me to come today, but I came to tell the Chen family a few things. Clara is my daughter. During all the years she was lost, I prayed countless times that she would meet good, loving people. Leo, perhaps your desire to save Clara back then was genuine. As a father, I thank you for that. But for all these years, how has your family treated my daughter? Don't you know in your hearts, the Lawson family motto has always been to treat others with kindness. Clara inherited that. She understands gratitude. She is reasonable, kind, and sensible, but that is not an excuse for you to deceive and bully her. If the Chin family really wants to make an issue of this, then let's sit down and go through everything, year by year, how you bullied my daughter, even preventing her from getting a job. Did you really think we wouldn't find out? No, that's not it. His mother cried. She was frail. Leo was just protecting her. He wanted her to rest at home. Frail. Ryan and Ethan entered the room. My cousin has been in perfect health since she came home. We'd also love to know what kind of torturous relationship could make a perfectly healthy person so frequently unwell. Ethan then turned to Leo. Leo, you've always been afraid to face the truth, because you've always been a coward. You were afraid that even after breaking her wings, you still couldn't keep her, that you weren't worthy of her. But she was never a bird that could be kept in a cage. An eagle that's meant to soar. How could you ever hope to keep it in a cage? I paused, then walked forward. Leo, stop playing with your life. This is the last time I'm coming to see you. The next time, whether you live or die, It will have nothing to do with me, goodbye. I turned and left. Leo's mother collapsed on the floor, muttering, "How could this happen?" And Leo just sat there, dazed, as we walked away. After that, I had our company's PR team suppress the gossip about me and Leo, and released a formal statement. The Chin family tried to contact us a few more times, but we ignored them. I was busy learning to manage the Lawson businesses and gradually took over a few smaller enterprises. It was like breaking through a thick sheet of ice and finding a vast ocean to explore. The first success was followed by a second, and a third. I didn't try to please anyone, I just focused on being myself. Slowly, I saw genuine respect and recognition on the faces of people at the company. I didn't want to be a princess in a greenhouse. I wanted to be a CEO who could stand on her own 2 feet. So what if I was a late bloomer? So what if I was a girl? I eagerly took on new challenges, pushing myself to reach new heights. I was grateful for my parents and my family. They loved and helped me unconditionally, allowing me to become a better person than I ever thought I could be. And of course, there was him. That evening, Ethan asked me to meet him at the basketball court. I could now sink a 3-pointer. As we were resting on the sidelines, he produced a bouquet of fiery red flowers from somewhere. "I've been wanting to tell you," he said, looking uncharacteristically nervous. "You know, your name and my sister's name, Chloe, they sound nice together. Clara and Chloe, it sounds like a family." "Huh," he sighed. "I know this opening might be a little cheesy, but it's my first time confessing to a girl, and it took me days to come up with it." I stared at him, stunned. "You know, when your cousin was trying to win over my sister, I was the one who secretly helped him. Back then, I didn't really understand what a crush felt like, or why your cousin would wait so long for my sister. But now that it's my turn, I realize that you can't control who you fall for. So you're going to trick my sister too?" Ethan and I both froze and turned. Ryan and Chloe were standing at the edge of the court. "Dude, I'm in the middle of a confession. Do you have to interrupt like that? This is betrayal," Ethan said indignantly. "I helped you so much when you were chasing my sister." "Yes," Ryan said, walking over. "And thanks to you, Chloe and I missed out on so many years together." "Hey, you can't hold a grudge like that. Regardless, I have to be responsible for my sister," Ryan said, turning to me. "Brother needs to have a word with you first." "Clara, I know Ethan pretty well. Ethan, he might seem unreliable and unreasonable at times, but he's very protective of his own, and he's trustworthy." "Well, at least you got that part right, but you still need to think carefully about relationships," Ryan continued, "especially something like a proposal. You need to be cautious, Ethan. It's best not to say yes too quickly. It's okay to make him wait a little longer." "Ryan," Ethan raised his fist, but in the next second, he turned to me, looking pitiful. "Clara, my stomach hurts." "What?" I was startled and about to step forward, but Ryan stopped me. "Trying to trick my sister right in front of me. Do you think I'm invisible? And stop stealing my lines. Stomachaches are a trademark of us CEOs. Can't you be more creative?" Ethan jumped up, furious. "What? Which domineering CEO doesn't have a stomachache? I might be sunny and cheerful, but I can have these problems too." I looked at the 2 bickering men and suddenly laughed. "Ryan, thank you." I turned to look at Ethan. "Ethan, the old me was always hesitant and had no confidence, but just like you taught me to play basketball, you have to be brave enough to lift the ball and try, right? Only then do you have a chance to make the shot. A good partner doesn't keep you standing still with them, nor do they trap you in a cage. They walk beside you, shoulder to shoulder." "So, I think so too." I smiled. "Clara and Chloe, that does sound like family." That night, Ethan set off a lot of fireworks at the basketball court. I leaned quietly on his shoulder, watching the sky burst into brilliant colors. As Ryan and Chloe were leaving, Ethan, hands in his pockets, called out to Ryan, "One more thing. What are you going to do about the Chin Corporation?" I wasn't going to bother with them, but if we don't teach them a lesson, they won't learn, and they'll just be an annoyance later. "A lesson? Huh?" Ryan looked up at the sky. "The wind is rising," he said softly. "So, shall we?" The 2 men stood side by side, looking up at the sky together. "Make the Chin Corporation go bankrupt." At that moment, Chloe twitched her lips. She leaned over to me and whispered, "My husband started reading those male-led web novels recently. I think my brother is reading them too. They even discuss them sometimes. Now they're acting it out. What do I do?" We looked at each other and laughed. CEOs who read web novels. How terrifying. The Chin Corporation's financial scandal soon hit the news. The investigation uncovered more problems: selling counterfeit goods, using substandard materials, Their crimes were exposed one by one, their funding dried up, and no bank would lend them money. You reap what you sow, Ethan remarked. Ryan and I just exposed the good deeds the Chin family has been doing for years. Their fate will be decided by the consumers they cheated. I occasionally heard news about Leo and Sophie from old university classmates. After the Chin family fell, all of Leo's bros cut ties with him, afraid he would ask for money. Sophie and Leo had a nasty split. The Chin Corporation accused her of stealing company secrets, while several other girlfriends simultaneously exposed her flirtatious chats with their boyfriends. It became a huge scandal. One of the girlfriends took it to an extreme and had Sophie beaten up. Her face was disfigured, and she was still in a lawsuit with the girl. But none of that had anything to do with me anymore. Ethan and I were planning our wedding. One day, I parked my car to buy something. When I came out, I saw a young woman looking at my SUV. She was a little embarrassed when she saw me. Miss, I really like your car, but if I drive a car like this, will people say I'm not very ladylike? I smiled. If you like it, why should you care what other people think? She hesitated, but for social situations, you have to think about fitting in. I shook my head. When it comes to socializing, the first thing you should consider is your own comfort. Pleasing others is less important than pleasing yourself. I smiled. This car is really comfortable and cool. Do you want to get in and see for yourself? Her eyes lit up, but she thought for a moment and shook her head. No, thank you, miss. I'll have enough money saved up next month. I'll buy one myself. After she left, I got a text from Ethan. For our wedding, do you think I should use my more literary sounding middle name? Ethan Sterling sounds more like a drama hero. He had been agonizing over this for days. No need. I like Ethan. It's tough, I replied. A moment later, a new message came in. It was from him. I am honored by my lady's praise. Your humble servant shall not tarnish his name. I burst out laughing. I looked up. The evening sky was beautiful. Today, and tomorrow, would both be good days. Who decided that being kind meant being silent? If you've ever had to silence your own voice to keep the peace, or dim your light so others could feel bright, let me know in the comments that you're done playing small. Your truth has a right to take up space, and their karma is long overdue. Subscribe to Red Karma for more stories of unapologetic power. It's your turn to write the ending.